Update. Am I the arsehole for refusing to meet with my half-sister because I don't deserve that honor? Original post. So this is rather simple and messy. I, 24 female, am an affair baby. My father, 75 male, had me with my mother, 60 female, while still being married to someone else, then divorced with his first wife when I was 4, and married my mum 2 years later. Because of the age gap and the general mess of the situation, I never truly had any relationships with my father's side of the family. For them, I was just an unexpected person to exist, which I am totally okay with since I have a great loving family on my mother's side anyway. So, since my birth, we have settled this lovely mutual agreement where they pretend I don't exist and I forget that my father is not an orphan. Lovely. The only person who decided to break this mutual indifference pact was my half-sister, 55 female. I probably also need to mention that my father was somewhat wealthy when he started dating my mother. He had already provided well for his eldest daughter, paid for her education, helped her to get a decent job in a law firm, and bought her a large apartment. So my sister was extremely unhappy with my birth, since for her it meant that some of my dad's money will now flow the other direction. Not my petty words, by the way. She said that to my mother. And not only that, according to my mother's words, confirmed by my father and grandparents, she had been harassing my mum throughout her entire, very complicated pregnancy, to the extent that my mother ended up in hospital. My sister then found a way to call her, even there, and wished she had a miscarriage. The last time when she and my mother met, she said I am worthless and don't deserve the honor of being called her sister, and she would rather give everything up to charity than let me inherit something from her. She was single and childless then and still is now. As from my own memories, I have seen her probably only 3 or 4 times as a kid and got a few presents from her as a teenager, some hideous old clothes she didn't want to wear anymore. She decided it would be hilarious to just send it to my mother in a garbage bag, so I donated it to charity upon her forgotten wishes. The funny thing is that, even though my mother was accused of gold digging, my father had an accident and retired soon after their marriage. So she was the one who provided for me and gave me the future. Now I live in another country with my soon-to-be husband, studying and all in all doing okay. I was supposed to visit my family next week when my father unexpectedly called me. He never does that. Upon a very awkward conversation, I received this information. Even though agreeing to cut contacts, my father began talking with his eldest daughter a few years ago. He systematically updated her on my life. Since she learned I'm doing okay and I'm soon to start my own family, she suddenly expressed desire to meet me. She has no family of her own, and that somehow made her value our sister bond more? I kindly rejected the offer and said I would rather not. There followed 20 minutes of a pointless conversation with such arguments as, I am becoming older, I want my children to reconcile. She was young and stupid, now she regrets, etc, etc. When I reminded him that she basically harassed my mother and wished me dead, he called me out for being vengeful towards my sis and said he taught me better. I then said that I don't think I deserve the honor of meeting her and don't seek to earn that honor, and he hung up on me. I know my father is an old man who doesn't want any drama. However, my mother is the sweetest person alive, and a mere thought that someone in her right mind could harass her to the point she was at hospital makes me sick. I don't have any interest in this sister bonding BS, and I don't care what she has to say, so am I the asshole for not even giving her a chance to speak with me? My reaction for OP. Oh, I can understand why you have no time for your sister who, by all accounts, hasn't treated your mum very well. Perhaps it would be better to speak with your sister though, if only to tell her how you feel. If, at the end of your meeting, you can see she's still the same, then you can move on and acknowledge that you spoke your truth. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Comment 1. Not the asshole. Sounds like she wants to reach out for selfish reasons and wants you to just roll over and pretend she hasn't hated you your entire life. Even though her anger is misdirected, you seem to understand why people might scapegoat you as the living embodiment of the death of their family. But harassing someone into the hospital and then finding a way to continue that in the hospital is a bridge too far. I'm not a strong math guy, but if you're 24 and she's 55, then she was 31 when she did this to your mother. She wasn't some middle-aged schooler, she was an adult over 30. Young and stupid indeed. Comment 2. Indeed, the young and stupid part cracked me up as well. OP. Yep, she's not much younger than my mother. They even share the same name. And I think it may be one of the many reasons why Mum decided to keep her own surname. Laugh out loud. In retrospect, this is perfectly clear, but as I am sure you know, being on the receiving end of infidelity can do a pretty good number on your critical thinking skills. I am thinking much more clearly now, by the way. Comment 3. Not the arsehole. She gets to have feelings about her dad cheating on her mum. If it had been me, I would have raised hell. But she crossed the line when she actively took it out on a pregnant woman and became vengeful towards you. Your dad was in the wrong for ever agreeing to cut himself off from his child for the sake of someone else. Let's be clear about that. You and your mum never ever needed to have contact with her, but he is still her parent. It was on him to create healthy boundaries for everyone in this situation, and he failed. OP. To be honest, I wouldn't care if he talks with her or not. If it wasn't for my mum, she insisted on cutting her off after my birth, or to be precise, make sure I never see her around me or my daughter because I will call the police. The boundaries is something my dad was never strong in. He tends to avoid conflicts at all costs. He is constantly trying to force people to be okay with each other and be forgiving. So if my mother wouldn't do this, us or them fit, I am 100% sure he would constantly try to make sis and my mother reconcile, invite her to our dinners in our home, etc. This inability to leave things as it is was the reason my mother was harassed in the first place. I love him, but man, I can't understand why his daughter wouldn't be besties with his mistress, and got it only after she called mum at the hospital. Comment 4. I am sorry, call me the arsehole and downvote me. Sister is a complete arsehole, but I find my mum to be the sweetest person alive to be complete BS. You are getting married, but apparently not old enough to know having an affair with a married man knowingly, while he has a family, and getting pregnant does not put you in the sweetest person alive category. I don't know that sweet people have long-standing affairs with married men who have families and then get pregnant. How long was this sweet woman sleeping with a married man? How long was she a knowing affair partner? I'm assuming she got pregnant while knowing he had a family. She systematically helped break down a marriage and a family. The sweetest woman alive slept with a married man, got pregnant, and then married him after he divorced his wife? Sorry, no one should wish a miscarriage on anyone. But your mother is a piece of S. Not the arsehole, but your father is an arsehole for having an affair and getting his affair partner pregnant while still being married. Your sister is an arsehole because instead of dealing with her feelings and grief through counselling, if needed, she became extremely toxic as well. Now for the update. Hey guys, just came home and looked through your answers. Jesus, I did not expect that many. And oh boy, some are very interesting. I actually have a teeny tiny update, but first, let me answer some of you guys. At first, those who addressed the issue, I was asking about me and my sis being total strangers, with her resenting me even before my birth and suddenly wanting to meet. Thank you for the feedback. You are the most appreciated of all. I'm not that good at dealing with someone trying to do the speed run to my personal space. So I really wanted to know if I'm overreacting. Sometimes it's hard to judge, especially because I don't actually know sis, apart from her being a huge fan of my being born. As far as I know, not the most pleasant person to be around, but have zero desire to test this personally. As for my mother's infidelity, many people were not happy with the sweetest person part, and even less with my further explaining, which I find absolutely understandable. Many of you were polite and respectful in your argumentation, so thank you for that. Actually, upon reading my own answers the next day, without context, I can see why so many people were confident that I am trying to do black and white here. I don't actually think it is necessary to have a huge discussion, since it is not the main point of my post anyway, but for those who were respectful to me, I wanted to make my only and last point here. My position on that matter is not that cheating is totally okay, since it is my mum who did the nasty and/or she wasn't the first mistress to my father. can get a little defensive on that, I know, but don't blame me. Blame the flashbacks from my childhood, when I constantly heard all the things you wrote from my father's friends, ex. Sorry, kidding, but not really. My position is that I have decided to refrain from judging my mother on that. In other words, not approving like, hey, my pops is a cheater anyway, so it is totally okay to sleep with him then. It is rather, I don't think it is my place to shame my mother. She made a decision and faced the consequences. I leave that to her, and I won't let this impact our relationship. That's it. You may not agree with my point of view, and that's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I'm entitled to my own perspective also. And the perspective is, I saw only kindness and love from her. This is my way of showing love and kindness back. Please be respectful. For those who actually insulted my mother or me by calling names and wishing me being cheated on to get the feeling, I hope people you love never make any mistakes. Oh boy, you would let them know they are not worthy of anything anymore. Now, to the actual update. Actually, not that much to update about. My father had a brilliant idea of asking my mother to persuade me, and now it is a huge shit show. My mother crying on Skype and asking me if meeting my sister is something I truly want. Me explaining that I don't give a flying F about her. My father screaming on my mother that it is her upbringing. Fun. Oh, he also said he had given her my number so we could settle things as adults. So now I'm even more irritated. Due to some issues with my residence renewal, I often have to pick up from unknown numbers. Have to give attention to the country code before picking up from now on. The first Skype call was a disaster. Then, when my father went outside to smoke, my mum called me again, and I asked her about no contact thing. Mum explained that she was indeed against my sister being anywhere near me because she was scared of her hating me so much and couldn't trust her. However, she said she never actually forbade my father talking to her. She just wanted it to be away from our house and our lives. And that he tried for some time when I was a kid to see her occasionally. But then the car accident happened and Sis never ever called him or visited him in the hospital. This made him so frustrated that he went full no contact mode himself. I then asked her, does she have any idea of what Sis could possibly want from me, but she had no clue. So that's what it is now. If some drama happens, I will update, but I probably would not go to every single new thing in the post mode. I have a life to live and a wedding to plan. Just maybe we'll give some closure in case there would be one. Thanks for wasting your time reading this and have a nice life. Story 2. My husband, 44 male, is leaving on a business trip, but I, 33 female, am having an early miscarriage. What do I say to him? My husband and I have been trying for our third child since December. Last week, I got a very faint positive pregnancy test, but the line never got darker. We've struggled with infertility before, so we both already knew what was likely coming. We've also been insanely busy all week and haven't had time alone together this week, so we're in desperate need of connection. Except my husband is leaving today at 3 p.m. to catch a flight for work, and he will be gone for a week. I work 24 hours a week as a software engineer and provide full-time childcare, so I expect this week is going to be very difficult for me by myself to manage both kids solo 24/7 and get all my work done. My husband was supposed to make muffins before he left to make mornings easier for me this week. This morning I started bleeding. My husband asked me what he could do to help. He drew me a bath and then he immediately let our toddler get into the bath. I did not get into the bath. And then he offered to go get me my favourite donuts from a shop about 35 minutes away, but sprung on me that if he did that, he wouldn't make the muffins for us to eat this week. I told him I hated when he did that. Offered support, but only at a significant cost of something else to me. Then I went and lay down because the cramps I'm experiencing are debilitating. I'm in so much physical pain. My husband came over to hug me and our 13-month-old pulled his hair accidentally and he just completely melted down and stormed off. And he's been crying and sulking for almost 3 hours now. I've had to completely manage both kids by myself while I am doubled over in pain. Right when he first started crying, I went over to hug and hold him. He didn't say anything to me, but after a minute, the baby grabbed his hair again, and he responded by growling and storming off, so I took the kids away and left him alone. When I put the baby down for a nap, my husband just glared at me silently. Here's where I told him I wasn't sure I would be able to forgive him for how he's acting right now, as I'm in a lot of need and he only has a couple of hours to be here for me, and he's choosing to do whatever this is. And then I went back to taking care of a toddler. Since then, he's been storming around the bedroom, packing a bag. He just came in and sneered at me that he's sorry, his best is never good enough, and then stormed back out. I'm honestly at a loss of how to move forward. None of my friends or family live close to us. I don't have any local support right now. I want my husband to show up for me and care for me, even in just the couple of hours we have before he goes. And he's just not. I've already told him I need him, but I'm just not getting anything from him right now. I don't think I can emotionally handle it if he leaves like this. What do I say to him? Edit. Jesus Christ, the number of people who think commenting on our family planning choices is absolutely disgusting. This is supposed to be an advice hub, not a judgment sub. I asked for advice on how to talk to my husband, not your opinions on how long to wait between children. It's bad enough I need to filter through all the just divorce him shit. You all are immature children, suggesting for the absolute nuclear option in the heat of the moment and without any additional context to our relationship. The number of assumptions about the rest of our relationship is honestly pathetic. I'm furious with my husband and I very well might decide I want to divorce him over this, but that's not the advice I asked for. In something like 500 comments, maybe 5 of you actually addressed the advice I asked for. My husband might suck big time in this crisis, but based on all your responses, none of you would be decent people in a relationship either. First and last time posting here. What an absolutely useless exercise in trying to solicit advice. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you.